making a dress, okay, and the lower skirt of the dress is going to be having two of these shapes. Okay, so this is the top part. This is supposedly the top part of the skirt, and as it goes lower, as it goes towards the base, it's got this opening right here. So the plan essentially, you see that right there, the plan essentially is to fold. So this is going to be the side of the skirt, right? That's the side of the skirt. So essentially you have the required measurement, and then here, right here, is going to be longer. So this is what it looks like at the side. So folded, this is what it is going to be. Now I'm going to show us how to achieve this. Okay, I'm going to show us how to achieve this. So essentially, this is like a granny rectangle. Okay, it starts out as a granny rectangle, but that rectangle is going to be crafted. This rectangle right here, let me put it this way so you can see clearly. This rectangle, this very first rectangle right here, is going to be crafted somewhat like a pentagon. So we're going to be needing, look at that, we need 1, 2, right? Right, this is 1, this is 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So all of this 5 is going to be required to create this look. All right, so I'm going to start up. So essentially, right, this part right here, you would want this part to be at the widest part of your the hip, right? So this protrusion, because it's going to form a sort of protrusion when you fold. So you would want it to be at your hip somewhat, okay? And then that means you're going to be ensuring that the measurements from the hip to the point where you want the skirt to stop is what you're going to be using. That is what we used here. So for this, we needed 42 chains. So let's work with 42 chains. I'm going to be chaining 42. I'm going to chain 42 there, and I'll meet us here when I have my 42 chains. Okay, so I have 42 chains right here. So what I'm going to do now is, and I'm going to be creating 2 rows of single crochet stitches in the bottom loops. All right, so I'm going to end up with 41 single crochet stitches, and I'm using the bottom loop, not the front loop, not the back loop, but the bottom loop. So essentially I turn the chains upside down, so to speak, to insert these single crochet stitches into them. So I'm going to be working 2 rows of this. So when I walk up to the end, I'm going to turn my work and walk back around to come show us what it is I did with the granny stitches. All right, so see us here after 2 rows of single crochet stitches. Okay, so we now have 2 rows of single crochet stitches. Yeah, I'm about to show us how the granny stitches are going to come along. So at this point right here, I'm going to chain 3, turn my work around, and then insert the remaining 2 double crochet stitches into that same single crochet stitch to create the first granny stitch cluster of double crochet stitches. And then I chain 3, right? This is supposed to be a corner. And then back into that same stitch, I'm going to insert 1 stitch and a stitch in the next, another stitch in the next. This way I have created a corner. However, all of these are inside 1 stitch, and then these 3 stitches right here take a stitch each. I chain 1, skip 1 down there, and then another 3 stitches, one after the other. Chain 1, skip a stitch, another 3 stitches, one into the other. So this is because I'm creating these granny clusters on the single crochet foundation. That is why I'm putting a stitch into each. So I'm going to work this all the way to the end of the row, and I'll come back around and show us at the end of the row. I'm going to show us what I did at that corner, or what we do at that corner to achieve the pentagonish look. Okay, so we've come back around to the end of this, to the end of the single crochet strip. So this is what we have thus far. Remember this corner that we inserted here. So we're at this point now. This is the end. So what I'm going to do here is add another corner. So 3 stitches, 3 chains, and then on top of this place I'm going to insert 3 double crochet stitches. So 1 into the same stitch as the last stitch, another one in the very middle, and then one more at the beginning of the single crochet or at the foundation row on the side, right? After those 3 stitches right there, I insert a corner and then start inside that same foundation first stitch, a stitch in each all the way back, just like we did on the opposite side. We're going to be creating a mirror image of that side. So 3 stitches, chain 1, skip 1 down there, a stitch in the next, a stitch each in the next 3 to represent a granny cluster, and then chain. Okay, so that's it right there. That let me show you what that looks like. So up here you have the 1 2 3 that I see, 1 2 3 that I spoke about, and then here you have 1. I'm going to come back around as I keep walking down here, mirroring what we have on this side. So I'm just going to keep mirroring this until we get to the end. I'll be back to show us. All right, we've walked all the way to the end again, right? So at this point we're creating a corner. So I'm going to insert 3 chains. Yeah, create 3 chains, and then into that last stitch right there, I'm going to insert 3 double crochet stitches as my last granny cluster. So I'm going to create a single crochet to close this up. All right, that part right here does not need this position. I mean, this spot right here does not need numerous chains. Just 1 chain is enough, but I'm going to be using a single crochet stitch to close it up. So this is what it looks like, right? So you have your 1 2 there, and then you have your 1 2 3 here. So what I'm going to do now is chain and turn. I'm going to slip stitch into all of these stitches until I get to the chain space. From this point it gets really easy, because remember, every 3 where you have 3 chains, that is a corner. So in there you're going to be putting 2 clusters of 3 double crochet stitches, separating them with 3 chains. So this is the first cluster, and then I create my 3 chains and insert the next cluster. All right, so this is what I'm going to keep doing. I'll keep going round and around. I turn my work, so I go here. This is a corner, so I walk up now into this chain spaces is where I'm going to be putting my 3 double crochet cluster stitches. Let me show you. So I chain 1, and then into this chain space I put in my 3 double crochet stitches. You can begin to see the granny square or the granny stitch design. So chain 1, and then into the next chain space insert 3 double crochet stitches, chain 1, into the next chain space insert 3 double crochet stitches. This is the modus operandi throughout the entire shape. All right, so you have that, you keep going, right? So into all of these chain spaces you're going to be inserting 3 double crochet stitches. Then when you get to the corner you're going to insert this. So 3 double crochet stitches, 3 chains, 3 double crochet stitches into these corners. All right, so you end up having something like this. So that's it. So you see, like I said, this was the corner. So the corners keep going. See the corner, this was that first corner, right? So they just keep going, you keep creating the corners, you end up with a corner. And here same thing on this other side of the rectangle, it keeps going up into that corner. Now what happens to this lower part is that because you create a full corner into that, it gives it this slanty look. All right, you could choose that at this point, after you have created this first corner, when you get here you just insert 3 clusters and turn your work. But no, I wanted this thing, this slant here, this slit, so that by the time the individual wears it on the side, you're going to have this slit like thing. Or if you want this to be in the middle, it means that the side of the skirt is going to have this extension. Now concerning measurements, I said earlier, let the spot be around your hip. So that means you're going to be from that point there, you measure just how long the skirt you want the skirt to be. That's how long, that's the number of chains you're going to create for this part right here. Now, how do you get this part? Note that for every row you climb, 2 rows climb up on the side. Every 1 row means 2 rows here. 1 row means 2 rows here. You see that this is 1, but it gave us 2. So the width keeps increasing by the time you measure this, right? Let's measure this and see. So from that spot right there, we have 9. Note that from here, you're going to have 9 as well, and then from this other side you're also gonna have 9. So this is what you're gonna have to note when you're determining how wide you want your skirt to be. And did you know that you could make 2 of these pieces and join them together into a skirt? Did you also know that you could make this really, really wide to the point that if this is the length of the waist, if you join it together, this has created a skirt. So you have your skirt, this side, this side of the skirt, usual length, and then this other side of the skirt extends this way. You can really go all out. Yeah, so yeah, you can mix up the colors like I have, or you can stick to just one solid color, right? So that's about it. If you're new to our channel, please do go subscribe. We bring you brand new videos every week, inspiring you on all of the possibilities of crochet. We walk you through how one of our own bespoke pieces was created. We demystify what one celebrity or another wore. We show you tips and tricks like this one right here. So everything to make your crochet life really easy. Now, if you have questions, you have a design, that you'd like us to work for you, we would do so for a token. All right, for a token, if you want us to work it for you. However, if you want us to show you here or teach you here, well, with all pleasure, we're gonna do that. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.